What made the popular guy/girl lose their popularity? She started a fight with another popular girl over something petty. The other popular girl, unbeknownst to us all, practiced a martial art and delivered with one hand the most beautiful, graceful punch that I have ever had the pleasure of seeing whilst pulling out a chunk of hair with the other. The other girl was suspended and skyrocketed higher than ever, while the popular girl who started the fight became little more than a laughingstock with a temporary bald spot. We had 2 or 3 over the 4 years get pregnant. They no longer went to all the parties with a kid to look after. I went to the same school as the kids of the Prime Minister of my country at the time. I didn't know the daughter too well, but apparently she went from being popular to being bullied out of the school when her dad lost the election. It was pretty sad that people started hating on her for something she had no control over. Word got out that this kid stole from his grandparents for drug money. This one popular girl in HS got so drunk at a party that she just started shitting herself everywhere. Some friends drove her home and she did it again in the back seat. Not easily forgotten. But it was one of those things no one would say anything about. It's just that the entire school knew by Monday afternoon. She got pregnant and had to quit cheerleading. The football players didn't want her anymore and her popularity took a hit, plus the other girls were very judgmental. Throwing shit in the hall on people's lockers. Her mom came to a school meeting and told everyone she suffers from mild autism. Making fun of somebody's dad when they were diagnosed with cancer, that's going to drop your approval rating somewhat. Becoming the small fish at university. Here's my story. In 5th grade we moved and I changed schools. I went from a school in the city where everyone got along and was friends to a school in the suburbs where I was introduced to popular and unpopular for the first time. As a fat quiet kid I was quickly deemed unpopular and took my fair share of abuse. Around March or April, my teacher moved our desks around, and set up islands of 4 to 5 desks around the room, except for 2. The most popular boy in school who was a troublemaker in class, and me, who moved our desks right up next to the side of hers. I later found out she did this for 2 reasons. 1, to keep an eye on him, and 2, she felt I'd be a good influence on him. A funny thing happened. Between then and the end of school, we became best friends, and I became the second most popular kid in school. I started getting invited to birthday parties, kids stopped being crappy to me, I got invited to play football at lunch, girls liked me. It was amazing. Then, summer happened, we were in different classes the next year, he forgot about me, then he moved, and everyone went back to treating me like shit. That's my little story about losing popularity. A popular boy cried in class during a discussion about a recent tragedy because someone that was close to him died in said tragedy. He got relentlessly bullied for the short time afterward that he was at that school. He was a good kid that didn't deserve any of that. I really hate middle school kids sometimes. He whipped his dick out during class and put it on the shoulder of the girl who was sitting in the desk in front of him. He got kicked out immediately and I believe charges pressed for sexual assault. We were a couple of weeks from graduating too. They were brother and sister, let's call them Eric and Megan. Eric was in his senior year and a couple months from graduating. He was a jock, an idiot and an absolute tool. Megan was a sophomore. She was actually nice. They were both very popular and reasonably attractive. Their friends would make comments about how hot their sibling was, etc. The two of them, for some fucked up reason, made a porno together and showed it to their friends. Somehow they were surprised when this led to being socially exiled. Megan ended up being sent to live with her grandparents about 1,000 miles away. This kind of stuff was not uncommon in the area I grew up in. Meth and incest are quite rampant in rural Vermont, but no one wants to acknowledge that. Also, this was only a few years ago. Freshman year of high school. Very popular guy who was the it kid freshman Phenom WR on a nationally ranked team. We were all leaving class one day. He randomly decided it was a good idea to make fun of a very well-loved handicapped guy who was dying of his condition, some advanced form of water on the brain if I remember correctly, and even decided to punch him. This knocked the poor kid to the ground. About 10 guys immediately jumped him. A shop teacher saw it, the WR getting his, happened and let it continue for a minute before stopping things. Mr. Popular got quite messed up in that short window. Kicked off team. Expelled. Moved schools in a move that I'm guessing was a way to start over at a new school? Never heard from him again. Went from pep rally king to degenerate outcast in 5 minutes. I had a front row seat and was one of 50 plus who testified to the school admins. The victim passed away later that school year from his condition. You almost never heard him speak, but when he did he was always kind and thoughtful. They lost their place to a kind and warm-hearted sweet girl with a very sunny and positive vibe. Suddenly everyone was around her and not around the popular kid/bully. Basically the students finally saw what they really needed. Guy wasn't exactly extremely popular to begin with, but was well known. He punched some girl at my school in the face for no reason at a concert. Shortly after this, there was news that he rolled his brand new Camaro going 95 in a 45. This caused him and another guy at our school a lot of injuries. His friend lost his entire ear in the accident. Oh, and this was right after they stole beer from Kroger. They were drunk driving. Anyways, people kept their distance after this. Another kid that comes to mind was someone very popular in our grade. One of my friends went over to his house and used his computer without his permission. My friend ended up finding terabytes of child porn on his PC. From what I heard, the FBI even got involved. He never was seen at school again after that. As soon as school ended, everyone stopped pretending to like her. She was raped, and became incredibly withdrawn. Instead of getting her help, or alerting the adults, everyone just sort of dropped her. Not being a cool kid, I learned about what actually happened years later, unfortunately. We found out he ducked a dog. He told us the dog licked him when he put peanut butter on his cock. Instantly couldn't look at him. A girl in my hometown was always picking on this guy in her class, making fun of his last name, picking on his mom and his little brother, nothing physically. I think people just thought it was a bit of ribbing, nothing so bad anyone felt the need to intervene. Then one day, his family was in a car accident, and he was the only one to survive. When he came back to school, she said something like, "Couldn't even get dying right," insert name she used to pick on him. It was so bad after that she switched schools, but her reputation followed her. She tried rushing a sorority in college, but wouldn't you know, the story followed her there too. He was a new kid, but due to his looks, parents' wealth, and sports aptitude he quickly became popular. Then he made the mistake of bullying a harmless kid who was on the spectrum and was basically the football team's lucky charm. They did not take kindly to that, and he went from being the next big thing to being that kid no one wanted to talk to, and he had to basically bribe people to keep them around. Popular girl was driving drunk on the way to school, and caused a pretty bad accident involving 3 other cars. She spilled liquor on herself and slammed on her brakes in a line of cars. Her car managed not to have a scratch. She swapped seats with her passenger in front of everyone, before cops arrive. A few minutes later we realized she has disappeared. She had slipped into another car that had stopped to see if everyone was okay. Several people ended up getting tickets and her passenger ended up getting a DUI. She was unpopular until graduation. Deleted. Word got out that the guy raped his girlfriend, and all of his popular friends try to defend it. Just happened recently, and it's still weird, since people either hate him or say he made a mistake. There was another guy who was more known and popular, and he just got booked in for raping a 12-year-old. A guy was bragging for like a solid week about how he slept with like 3 girls at the school. Turns out 2 of them got pregnant. That was really bad luck, but that wasn't what made him unpopular. What made him unpopular was that one of the pregnant girls was known as the innocent religious girl and genuinely wanted to wait until marriage before having sex. Her friends started questioning why she changed her standards so suddenly. Turns out she was raped. Tall, good-looking, foreign exchange student showed up one year with a killer smile and some impressive soccer skills. Never thought I'd see schoolgirls giggle and follow around boys in a crowd like they do in TV shows, but this guy made it happen. He abruptly stopped showing up one day after a few months. Don't know 100% what happened, but the rumor was that he got sent back for putting some pretty serious racist symbols in a poetry/art project, thinking it would be a funny joke. She was a bit of a bitch. Pretty as a picture but dim as a dark room. Once people saw how she really was as a person, i.e. using her looks to get what she wanted and throwing a hissy fit once she didn't get it, caused people to lose interest real quick. I actually met her about a decade after we graduated and she was a completely different person. Really humble and gentle. Actually a lot more clever than she appeared. No idea what she's doing now. I was the popular girl. Developed full-blown schizophrenia my sophomore year of high school and had a spiral that rivaled a Hollywood movie. By the time I graduated, everyone knew me as the weird, crazy witch girl who talked to herself and had no friends. Now I'm out of high school, stable, on my meds, with people in my life who love me, and I haven't thought about popularity since. Life is wild. Tried to finger a girl at a party in front of everyone. Member of National Honor Society got caught cheating on a final exam, senior year. Their father bribed the principal by donating a car to be used for school activities, so that they would graduate. Graduation day, every other member of NHS took off their rope before crossing the stage to accept their diploma. He was in my grade. We were seniors and it was the last few days of school. Him and some of his buddies, who were also popular but not nearly as much, decided to vandalize the school. At night they spray-painted dicks and stuff all over the outside of the place. They also sprayed the words "could have done worse" on the big entryway doors in the front. Well, they got caught. Their punishment? None of them graduated. They all had to repeat the year. Everyone thought they were idiots after that. According to one of my friends who was a grade younger, many people would say could have done better to them in passing. I was somewhat part of that crowd, and God, was there a lot of drama. One of the girls got shunned by practically our whole grade after it was revealed that she slept with the boyfriend of this other really well-liked girl. They were the it couple. She got lots of judgment about it, though somehow the guy got away with it without much issue. I almost felt bad for her. But then I didn't, because the year before she made the Spanish teacher cry by being so rude, and later in the year she was caught cheating in bio and pressuring this really smart girl to give her the answers. She wasn't exactly a good person. Kid made a video for a school project, which he played in front of the class. Project video ended and cut to him beating his meat. He was a freshman. He spent the remainder of HS known only as the cameraman. There was a new kid at our school that I'll call Alex for the purposes of this story. He was athletic, funny, good-looking, etc. He got in with the popular kids pretty quick, and got along with just about everybody. Small-town school. There was a special needs kid in our grade that I'll call Josh. Everybody loved Josh like a little brother, and we were all very protective of him. One day, about a week after Alex got to the school, he was teasing Josh out in the courtyard and Josh was getting really upset. A few kids told him to cut it out, and Alex got angry, so he pushed Joshua. He instantly was attacked by several of the nearby guys, and was getting the snot beaten out of him until the teachers got there. Alex was suspended for 2 weeks, and the guys attacking him were suspended for 1 week. When he got back, he was basically shunned. Nobody would talk to him unless it was school-related. During gym class, people would do whatever they could to exclude him. He switched schools after a few weeks of this. Looking back at it, his treatment was really harsh, but he fucking deserved it in my eyes. He made fun of some girl's dead father, drug overdose. The other popular kids confronted him about how fucked up that was, and he lost all of his popularity. This person had been a compulsive liar to the point where nobody believed a single thing she said. Let's make a list real quick. 1. After her boyfriend had told his friends that he had sex with her, she spread the rumor that she was pregnant and started wearing really baggy clothes. 2. She said she drove to the Super Bowl, which at the time was in Texas, and made it back the next morning for school. We live in Michigan. 3. Said she kissed Tom Brady at said Super Bowl. 4. Started drama and rumors with every person in the school. Edit: I forgot to mention that she apparently had the kid and that her parents were taking care of it until she graduated. Student president called our residential nice girl a bitch. You know, the sweetheart who is kind to everyone, the girl that every guy has a crush on. Small school, so gossip ran through the halls like nothing else, but I've never seen the tables turn so viciously and decidedly. There was a girl who was super popular all throughout middle school. Then this rumor started that she had tempted her dog into sexual acts with peanut butter. The rumor stuck too, like all throughout school people would say her name and then say peanut butter, insert name, like people would write on the whiteboards and everything. I saw her leave class in tears multiple times. It was horrible. The dog was a Cocker Spaniel too, which obviously did not help. The tea, however, was our school junior and senior year offered this like special program where half the school got exclusive invites to spend the day making a difference. Literally, it was called Redo Day, and it was apparently pretty intense. It was designed to have people come together and accept differences and stuff, which was kind of stupid considering the absolute abysmal lack of diversity in my school, but I digress. I was never invited, so this part is secondhand, but apparently during the open mic portion where people make admissions and like come clean, her twin brother took the mic and fully admitted it was he who started the rumor. That was why the rumor had stuck so hard and fucking ruined this girl's whole high school life. Shit was wild. Sadly, they lost a fight. He had already lost a lot of popularity from going to state-mandated rehab once. Though the last straw was when he crashed and killed a girl before he made it out of his driveway only a couple months after he got out of mandatory rehab while driving drunk. Used to friends with the guy, but he had a downward spiral and last I heard is still in jail. Don't drink and drive, people. It's not just your life on the line when you make that decision. Went to a private high school that had a middle school as well. The guys who were popular in middle school were typically the center of the popular crowd going into high school. It also helped that they basically got a free in to be on the sports team's freshman year. A group of guys were pretty much the center of popularity for 3 of the 4 years just by sorta being bro douches and flaunting the fact that they got to go to parties and chew dip. Slowly though everyone sort of just got tired of them and were less insecure about acting like themselves and not trying to fit in. So the douchey brothers eventually faded away during senior year into their little clique of 5 dudes who stopped being invited to most of the parties that the rest of the class, many of the kids who used to get bullied included, went to. He pulled a gun on some football players trying to rape a middle school girl. The football players ended up going to prison. Students, teachers, and parents made his life a living hell because he ruined the school's chance to make it to the state football championship. This is actually kind of sad, but the guy I knew was declared athlete of the century at our school. He was amazing at football, track, rugby, and wrestling, didn't play hockey though, which was big where I am. But everyone loved this guy because he almost single-handedly won us provincial championships. I hate to bring this into it, but he was also one of 2 black kids at our school, so he had to really break through some prejudices by some of the people there, as it's a small rural community, but then he suffered a gruesome leg injury that ended his career. So when he stopped playing sports, people sort of forgot about him. This was 12 years ago and I actually saw him a few months back. He's doing well. I'm 2 years younger and he was always nice to me. To make it even sadder, last year his brother, another great athlete, took his own life. He didn't go to our school though, and I didn't know him. He was popular among the group of people he was associated with. I don't think he was super popular or anything. Punk/grunge kid. All his popularity went out the window when he went out the window of his car, after he crashed it into a building because he was huffing paint and speeding down the road with one of the group's popular girls. Thankfully she survived, but from what I recall he wasn't remembered so fondly after that. He got super high one night. Got in his car with his friends. They thought they were getting chased by the police, ended up losing control of their car and drove it through someone's house. He lost one of his fingers in the accident, but fortunately no one else was seriously harmed. They were all removed from the baseball, etc., teams that they were on. In a related story, a girl who was pretty popular, graduated from our high school. Shortly after she killed someone while driving drunk. Spent a long time in prison. Him and another kid from our school got busted for picking up 2 middle school girls from the local mall and taking them to a motel. He used to be the class clown and on the announcements and everything, but the dude was an untouchable from then on. I don't even remember if he graduated. Way back when I was in school, a girl who was quite popular decided she could make fun of another kid's Down syndrome sibling in front of her friends. Well, the popular kids in my school weren't jerks, so they didn't laugh and literally turned their backs on her. She was a loner for the rest of the year and went goth the next, then moved. It wasn't funny at the time, nor is it funny now. Edit, just for clarification purposes, this was not on school ground. We were at a park one night with a lot of kids hanging out when she did it. She tried to apologize to her friends for some reason, not the kid or his brother. That's when the other kids got in a car and left her alone standing there after telling her it wasn't funny and she should apologize to the kid and his brother, not them. I think this was just one thing in a long line of problems they had with her, and this just was the final one. So the school had no say in it, but yes, if it happened in school she would have gotten in trouble for saying it. She also did a very rude hand/arm gestures. Also, side note, when I say no one laughed, I mean no one. It more like you could hear crickets and the girl laughing until she realized it was only her. This senior got suspended cause he fucked a freshman in the parking lot. He fucked a dog. Thank you guys for watching, I really hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe and like the video. See you soon.